All right, second time recording this. Messed up the first time. We're talking about the Las Vegas race that happened this last weekend, going over some perspectives or my thoughts through it. We're going to be looking at lap-by-lap data. I'm mainly doing this to give you an idea of what you can use the stuff that we have in the folders for. Clearly, I've already done this once and messed up, so if I don't touch on something specifically in lap-by-lap data, that doesn't mean it's not important. It just means maybe I thought I've covered it in this one and I haven't. And I'll go through this multiple times a week, looking at previous races. I'm just wanting to put this out there to at least show you what you can do with the folders that we have that you have access to when you join us on Patreon. And speaking of that, it is the second week. So you obviously missed Las Vegas week, but you can still support the work, support the channel, support Pierce, support myself, support everything that we put in there. Plus you get my little PDF sheet that has my projections on it, the projections that Pierce has in his sheets, and just a ton of stuff. So once you join, if you join here, which yet again, thank you so much. As I can't believe it. Thank you so much. I'm so happy for the support, just everything we're getting this year. I do appreciate it. But not only do you still get access to my Discord, which I would advise you to be in, because that's usually where I update, or not update, but say hey, I'm gonna try and be lower owned than this guy based on pre-race news and things of that nature. You obviously get my stuff here. You get everything that Pierce has been doing. And so when we add you, you'll see this folder here. We're going to be going over the lap-by-lap data for the Las Vegas race. So you'll go to this one, you'll go to that one there, the real rating, and we'll look at the Las Vegas race. Kind of detail. Might be a boring video, but it's something that I do want to do and that I want to put out there. I just rewatched the race yesterday again, which, yet again, I'm hoping, at least the work shows up of what we're doing here and the amount of effort that we're putting into just everything that we do. I know some people are always like, oh my God, bro, do you even win? Why am I listening to you? This week entered 6 lineups, 2 cash. Those 2 lineups carried the entry fees. Then on FanDuel, I think I entered 4 lines and made like $120 or somewhere around there. So we had a good week. Obviously didn't take down, a $5,000 contest, but we didn't lose anything. Don't have to redeposit. I'm very happy with that. Now entering the race, really about 20-30 minutes before the event, I believe my core was Larson, it was Hemrick, and it was Reddick. About 20 minutes before the race, I said, I'm getting off Reddick. I'm getting off Hemrick. I don't like that Hemrick is having issues before the race, and specifically that they're working that quickly before the race. That's what really stood out to me. And I didn't like the fact that Reddick was going to the rear, because not that I had him walking away with the race, but looking at the people who I considered contending with Larson in the beginning, contending with Bell, even though I figured Bell was trimmed out, I still gave him laps led. I figured he'd lead the first part of the race, or at least the first run. And the fact that we had a competition caution, which I don't understand. Hold on, I'm gonna cough here. I gotta pause. I guess we're just running with 4 stages in each race, because NASCAR said that they're most likely going to just keep implementing competition cautions at the start of these races because the teams don't have their required tire data, which is dumb, given more practice. I thought the whole point... What happened to the... I gotta stop. I gotta stop rants. Gotta stop. Gotta get through this without ranting. Reddick was going to the rear. I saw that we had the competition caution on lap 30, or somewhere around lap 30, and I didn't really want to mess with, not mess with. I didn't think that would help Reddick, despite the fact that it'll bunch the field back up. It'll, allow Reddick to kind of cut through the field again. I didn't see him getting back up there as quickly as I wanted to lead laps. So anyway, my whole idea, which is yet again why I would advise you to join the Discord, because that really I can really walk through my thoughts before pre-race and stuff that I really can't update on Patreon. Not that stuff was wrong. I still ran lineups with all those projections in there. Just towards the end, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to stay on Hemrick. I'm not going to stay on Reddick. I like the builds because a lot of the builds I had already had Bowman in them. I was really high on Bowman. I was really high on Byron. I was really high on Larson. 100% on Larson. This is going to be the year of skill. And Larson is not going to kill your lines. Like, if your lines cashed and you had Larson in the lines, your lineups did not die because of Larson. during the race, like on Twitter and stuff, you'll see like, oh my God, Larson is just losing this race. Oh my God, Larson is not, being the best car. So yet again, I want to look at the lap by lap data to see where he came out in. Was it just him constantly going to the back of the pack due to, pitting, being on pit road late? And despite the fact that, okay, he didn't get a lot of the fast laps, he didn't have the fastest car because he was in traffic the whole time. This was a bad day by Kyle Larson standards, and he still finished second. Like, if I'm going to get bad days like that, I'm still going to be nearly 100% on Larson every week at this point. But with that said, the reason I went off of Reddick so much is because I had lineups that went Larson, and the fact that I was so high on Bowman and Byron, it elevated me to push Kyle Busch into a lot of my lines, to push Harvick into more of my lines, which yet again, Harvick I think was 2 or 3 points off of 5x value. But in terms of, and it's like I say in the live shows, if one driver doesn't run away with it, or a driver that is as low owned as Ross Chastain, when he runs away with it, it just injures the projected lap leaders that don't get those laps led, that don't get those fast laps, and then it defaults to place differential in the 10K range. And so I played Kyle Busch because I figured he'd run 7th or 9th all day. Didn't expect him to have the best car. I was playing Harvick because I didn't think anybody would play Harvick, and I figured he'd be running 9th and 10th all day. And it just so happened that because Chastain ran away with a lot of the race, gobbled up a lot of the fast laps and laps led, not a lot of people had him. Sure, Chastain was the dominator, the lap leader, but when you looked at and compared the 10K range, you had Hamlin run into issues, you had Blaney run into issues, you had a lot of the other guys in there not lead laps, so it allowed place differential to go through. Anyway, those are just my initial thoughts entering the race before the race began. That's what I was trying to look at, or at least explain why I was off Hemrick. And because I wanted to be, when a lot of people start jumping off Hemrick, and this is stuff that you have to at least think of before the slate goes live, which yet again, I appreciate you being 7 minutes here. We haven't really looked at anything, but when we look at how we think people are going to react, my initial thought and my takeaway was, I think people are going to go down to Ty Dillon. They're not going to rebuild the lineups. They're going to go, and this is just off my head. I think Hemrick was 58. I know Ty Dillon was cheaper than Hemrick. And if you went down from Hemrick to Ty Dillon, it left you with like $300 or $200. But I didn't think a lot of people would rebuild lines. I figured a lot of people would just jump down to Ty Dillon. And so I remember in the Discord saying, hey, I want to get to Haley. If I got to rebuild lines to do that, I'm going to do that. But I want to get off Hemrick. I need to get onto Haley because Haley is going to be a different play. Haley is going to be a guy that not a lot of people are going to own. Actually, let me bring up the, which if you go, yet again, when you're in the shared folder, you can go to notes. I'm going to pull this to the side over here. But you can go to notes and you can go through, the notes so you don't have to rewatch races. And Pearson, I just finished filling this out yesterday. Let me see the ownership real quick because I do post ownership in here for this. And so we had Ty Dillon at 22.2% owned, and we had Justin Haley at 12.6%. I just like the difference there between Ty Dillon and Justin Haley. And you had Ty Dillon starting 32nd. You had Justin Haley starting 28th. And you had LaJoy 29th. Remember, I talked about LaJoy a lot. What did LaJoy come in at? LaJoy came in at 7%. I didn't understand that at all. Like, this is what I mean. I don't understand how percentages or ownership is coming out this year, because it seems like there's going to be a lot of values that work. And spoiler alert, we're kind of skipping to the end of the race here, but I do want to say this, otherwise I will forget. Spoiler alert, where are we at here? As I said, and this is not me just jerking myself here, I'm just explaining my train of thoughts from the live shows as well, on top of lap by lap data. I said in the live show, and pretty much this year, I'm going to project all the 4K drivers to have a top 30 finish. I fully expect at least 7 DNFs per race this year in the Cup Series, And that means the punts are alive. I did run a lineup with BJ McLeod. It was one of the lineups that did cash. And I think it was the higher scoring of the two lineups. Or if it wasn't, it was like 1 or 2 points below. But the punts are alive and well. In 2022, with the uncertainty that we have in these drivers and the amount of issues that we are going to run into this year, we have Smithley, a man who was just going laps down in that long run late in the race, finishing 31st. Or actually finishing 30th, because he did pass Eric Jones when he wrecked out. Balicki in the Spire car, 30th. BJ McLeod, 28th. Cody Ware, 27th. Cody Ware, cheapest punt play, is alive and well. And I'm going to make it make a note to myself to build at least 1 or 2 lines every week with a punt play of the 4K range in there. Because especially if races do play out this way, and at least for the time being, where there isn't one team that's the dominant organization that's running away with the race, where we're going to have leaders kind of flip-flopping, or guys, yet again, I missed on Chastain. I was trying to pinpoint guys that just should have, quote-unquote, been played, who might finish well or might do better. I saw Todd Gillen as that guy. I tried to open the pool up, but I whiffed on Chastain. Didn't see Chastain performing that well. But going to that, like when guys perform well that aren't high owned, trying to fit in as, or not high owned, but like when you punt, like the rules of punting, it's because they're offering at least, upside of over 17 points. They allow you to get to almost 4 dominators, and you like the lineup that you make. That's what we're going to run into a lot this year, to where you can build a lineup that has a lot of good plays in it, just punting down, because these punt plays are going to be starting almost dead last, because we are qualifying now, and they're going to be guaranteed at least a top 30 finish with all the DNFs. So I want to get that out of the way as well. Even when we look back at Fontana real quick, I know Fontana, which yet again, if you have this, you can go through and look at all the races, but I want to look back at the finishing order of the punt plays at Fontana as well. Cody Ware ran into issues, finished 32nd. You have Balicki finishing whoopsie. And yet again, this is why I love looking at lap by lap data. It's so easy. It's so much fun. So you have, sorry about that. So you have Balicki getting 30th. You have, I'm pretty sure, BJ McLeod got a 22nd place finish there. Smithley 21st. I think that is in the realm of possibility between these back markers. 21st to 30th is the projected finish of almost all the punt plays entering this year, in my opinion. I think they are viable. I don't think it's an ugly play. And really, just because, I got a lot of questions in the live show, because we're back to how fantasy NASCAR was before COVID. This is how it was. You would have a lot of soft pricing, because that's just how it ends up being. And you're going to have a lot of guys who project over 5X to even start the week. I think this week I had 27 or 26 cars projected to go over 5X value. And that's something that we're gonna see a lot of this year. Anyway, so let's do talking a lot here. Let's do kind of walk back through Las Vegas and see where the games were played. I remember specifically, I want to look at Larson. Was Larson the best car or not? Hamlin going on some bullshit rant of saying, "Oh, I had the best car today," when that was a lie. I don't know what his crew is telling him. He wasn't even the best Joe Gibbs car out there. And just other long run speeds. And we'll kind of talk through the races we go through. As I just said, I rewatched yesterday in its entirety again. So I should have a good idea of what happened. But let's look at the guys who did go to the back of the field. So we have Kyle Busch. Starting back, Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch was interesting. I did not play any Kurt Busch. We'll see how he went through the day as well. Ty Dillon had a bit of a disappointing finish at the end, because he stayed out, but he ended up being lapped. I don't think they put tires on. I think he got the wave around with Jones, that Jones boy. When that Jones boy wrecked. Anyway, so the race stays pretty clean and solid. I think Bell, yeah, stays up in front. Larson, I think he drops a little. So Larson did not have the speed to start the race. Clearly, he did not have the speed. And let's talk Larson first. I think that'll be easier. So start the race off. Larson doesn't have the short run speed. He is getting passed by people. We go into the competition caution. We have a yellow back to back. Yada yada yada. So he in stage 1 in 6th place. Fell back from 2nd to 6th right here. Still running, around the same places that we're at. Gains positions on pit road, which is interesting. Where's Bell at here? If you guys are OGs and remember last year when Pierce and I, in the spring race, did on one of our live shows on Saturday, went over the fact that we were debating, man, is the first spot on pit road at Las Vegas really that slow, or are these crew chiefs just BSing us? We spent like a whole hour figuring that out, looking through pit data and stuff. Long story short, don't pick the first pit stall at Las Vegas. Don't play the driver as the first pit stall at Las Vegas either. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the live show. If I didn't, I do apologize because I have just so much stupid info in my head right now. But anyway, so Larson, he's running 3rd, 4th. He's gaining speed here. They pit. He's first. He's losing time here. Entering the last stage, this caution period right here, 167, 168. Larson knows what he has in the car. He understands what he wants. And this is what I mean in terms of this is back to a driver's car because Larson went from 1st to 3rd. You'd automatically be like, oh, man, what do we got to do to this car? What do we got to do to make it better? Larson comes over the radio and says, look, guys, I overdrove the tires on this run. I am too loose. This car is loose, but don't change anything on the car. I do not want to set up change. That is me overdriving the car. I'm making the car too loose. I'm burning the tires up. Do not change this car. That is fantastic to hear. And you're like, Brandon, that's bad. He's overdriving the tire. No. Like, I can't explain to you how good of a thing that is. This car is back to the driver's hands. It's back to people who are skilled. You are seeing drivers who have been told they're wheelman, the entirety of their NASCAR career, and we're back to Larson, wheelman, overdriving it, realizing he's overdriving it, realizing that I have a car that can win this race, that can compete in this race. I'm the one messing it up for me and my team. Don't change anything. Give me tires, and let's see how he does on this long run here. So he comes out 4th, understanding that he has a loose car, drops back a little bit. I'm sure he's battling with his teammate Bowman. And yet again, Bowman went to the back because I'm pretty sure Bowman had a pit interference on lap 138. I think his tire rolled off and went into Cody Ware's pit crew. And so yet again, this is why I can't really stay on one driver at a time. We're staying on Larson, but we're covering other things as well. Bowman has a flying fucking fast car. I mean, stupid fast car. I can't believe he was 15% owned. And that's not me being like, oh my God, you should have played Bowman. It is, but in a sense of, I thought Bowman would come in at least 25% owned, at least a bit more. I have no clue why he was so low owned. I said in the live show, if you like Byron, you should love Bowman. Bowman's a discount. Bowman and Byron both are going to have fast cars, and they proved it here. So anyway, we go into this run here with Bowman. He's in the top 6 pretty much all day. When they come into this pit stall here, as I said, he had an equipment interference. I'm pretty sure the tire got away, went to Cody Ware. He went to the back of the field, tail end, not even in front of the lap cars. He restarts lap 139 in the back. Pretty much DFL. Can't do anything there. We have a caution. I'm pretty sure this was Bell's wreck. Yeah, it is. When he spins back to Larson here, Larson still has the lead, and we're seeing, as we're looking at how Larson is doing, we realize that he's probably going to fall back a little. Or he's saying right here that he's going to fall back. Listen, guys, I overdrove the tires, whatever. Look at how well Bowman is cutting through the field. I understand he's racing against slower cars, and this is why I do wish that I was at every track sitting up at the spotter stands, because you can learn so much from how these cars are racing and where everybody's going. And Fox does such a horrible job showing stuff. But Bowman's cutting through the field as well. So Larson pits, they come out, understand that he's going to be battling his teammate Bowman here. Bowman gets in front of Larson. They end up coming onto pit road here. So this Austin Dillon's the first one on pit lane. Yeah. I think this is with 52 to go, somewhere around there. Larson stays out because everybody's trying to stay with Chastain here. So Chastain pits. Larson pits the lap after, hauling ass into the pit lane. He does not get speeding entering the pit lane. However, Larson gets speeding exiting the track. Luckily for Larson, Hamlin grenades the transmission leaving pit lane, which I gotta try. I'm in such a good mood, but I gotta try and not go on rants today. We run into another issue here of NASCAR not throwing yellows. Hamlin is stopped on the inside of the racetrack for an entire, nearly 2 laps. It's a lap and a half. It's nearly 2 laps that Hamlin is stopped in turn 2. NASCAR does not throw a yellow. Now, NASCAR could be like, oh, well, we don't want to do it. It's in the middle of green flag pit stops. You know, we're interfering with the race. But you know what you're interfering with? You're interfering with Ty Dillon's crew saying, stay out, we're going to get a yellow. You're interfering with Stenhouse's crew saying, stay out, we're going to get a yellow. You're interfering with Hemrick's crew saying, stay out, we're going to get a yellow, because they were going to pit right when Hamlin spun and when Hamlin is stuck on the track. So, anyway, Larson gets saved. We have Ty Dillon getting saved. We have Stenhouse getting saved. And we have Hemrick getting saved specifically on this pit stop of NASCAR not throwing this yellow for Hamlin, which yet again, we'll look at Hamlin here. Mr. We had the best car all day, spotter. Oh, I don't know, Christopher Voda, we had the best car all day. We would have won this race, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Let's check that, Hamlin. You know, drives up to second on that short run. You know, that's pretty good. He is showing speed right off the bat. Gets the lead here. Passed on pit lane. Just we're seeing issues on pit lane. A lot of teams not being consistent on pit lane. Hamlin is back up there on lap coming out of stage 1. We go into cautions. And Hamlin does keep driving through the top 5. Now, this is a situation where I'm pretty sure, does Chastain have the lead? He does. Nobody could pass Chastain today. We saw it multiple times. Chastain had a good car. We saw him battle. We saw him hold off cars by himself, taking away lanes from other guys. So, Hamlin, I'll give you right here. You have the second best car of the day, driver. We're with you there. Easily a top 5 car for sure. Not necessarily the fastest one. Now I would say maybe it's because he views Chastain as a hack as well. Who knows? Anyway, so this will be interesting. We come off of this long run. This should show him where the speed is. He only gets up to 6. Now this is where, if you have the best car, Hamlin, during the longest run of the day, that'll show us where you're at, which is why I really do enjoy looking at long run speeds. He goes from 10th to 6th in about a 40 lap run. Who else is making moves during this exact same run? We have Stenhouse staying consistent outside the top 10. We have Logano falling back. We have Harvick, which is yet again why I played Harvick here in this race. Because I figured, not a lot of people are talking Harvick right here. He's gonna run 10th. A lot of these cars that are in the 9K range are going to be running anywhere from 14th to 8th all day. Alex Bowman holding on. Chase Elliott, a horrible long run car. Very bad there. Truex pretty much drives through the top 10 on this 40 lap run. Actually, Dillon starts pitting, so we need to look at before lap 210 actually. So let's see, where was Hamlin at there? Hamlin, even worse. Hamlin goes from 10th to 6th there, because this is where pit stops began with Dillon. So that's even kind of worse towards Hamlin's argument there. Top 4 staying consistent here. Yet again, a bad day from Larson, just staying consistently in the top 5. Bowman had the best car in the long run. That's what we're reviewing there. Anyway, so we go here. We get the yellow out. We have some cars staying out to get the wave around. We have some cars that are not trapped a lap down, but are at a severe disadvantage because you have... yet again, you have Dillon staying out, who was really battling at the very tail end of the lead lap, and he may have actually been lapped during this long run. I don't think he was, though, because I'm pretty sure I think we had 28 cars. We may have been getting lapped. maybe that's the reason they stayed out. Either way, long story short, they stay out. They pit by themselves, but at this point, actually, no, that is the case. So Stenhouse is the leader. Ty Dillon's in second. Hemrick is, I don't know what happens to Hemrick here. I think Hemrick gets trapped a lap down or something here. Or he may have been a lap down. I'm not entirely sure. He may have been 7th place, but 1 lap down here because Ty Dillon and, well, no, Hemrick goes down pit road as well. Anyway, point is, track position helps Ty Dillon and Stenhouse. I don't know if Ty Dillon was just this slow or if he was on scuffs during this run, but he drops back fast. He basically kills the inside lane on the restart, and then he's just riding in second. Whereas Stenhouse, a man who has shown speed, who I know takes 4 tires, are able to stay here. So I don't know if Ty Dillon's crew ran out of tires and he had to run the rest of the race on 1 set. I'm not entirely sure because people were putting scuffs on at this point in the race. We have Truex starting 4th, which in my brain, the end of the race played out to where it was Kyle Busch who clearly had the best. Actually, Chastain had the best car, head-to-head with him and Kyle. Truex is up there, Byron is up there, and Bowman is up there in the fastest cars. Those are easily the top 5 cars. And the fact that Stenhouse is there, I do think he had a buffer of cars behind him that kept him from being passed as well. But that is good to see from Stenhouse on the long run, which is why, you gotta enjoy playing Stenhouse here. Even Bubba had a good day. Bubba was in and out of the top 10 all day, if my memory serves me correctly. So let me see his time here, which was I think I was probably too harsh on the Fords entering this race. I know Bubba's in a Toyota. Well, Bubba, terrible long run, terrible run to start the race. Come to the competition caution, they fix whatever that was. And he's slowly able to gain positions here. In stage 1, running 20th. Now, this is good. I mean, we are seeing cautions and we're seeing short runs, but we're seeing Booty Barker and this team make changes that are actually showing speed in this race because they came out of qualifying not having that good of a car. Assuming that able to hold on to 10th, finish the stage running side by side with... Was it Hamlin? Is it down here? It is Hamlin. He was racing Hamlin. Let's see where he is in this long run. So we're looking at, I think 206. That's when Dillon starts to pit. 210. 16th. Hey, that's what you want to see, man. From Bubba, that's not bad at all. Running 16, 15 and times that is not bad at all. Yeah, so that is good to see from Bubba. Oops. I think we haven't even got to the final run yet, right? So this is what is you can either go back and I'm not necessarily going to focus on the leaders here because the coin flip between Kyle Busch and Truex, I don't think Truex would have caught him. His best chance to catch Kyle was when they were in and out of traffic around 243 to 255. That's when we start passing Smith, which they passed Smithley about 4 times during this run here. I don't know if Smithley was down on power. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but Smithley got lapped a ton during this long run here. Ty Dillon gets lapped in this run as well, so keep that in mind. So Ty Dillon goes from starting 3rd on the inside lane to being lapped here. Pretty much lap 244, which yet again leads me to believe that they put scuffs on. They did not have new tires in this race, which a lot of teams are starting to run out of. And I put in Discord and I asked Pierce. Pierce wasn't actually watching this race during the time. He watched it Monday. But I remember in my brain counting, I was like, dude, we're going to run out of scuffs we're going to run out of sets of tires because teams had 9 plus 1 from qualifying. So you have 10 sets of tires. A lot of these teams had gone through 6 of them before the end of stage 2. So yet again, Bell, for an example, so Bell spins here. Where's he spinning at? Bell spins on the restart at 141 coming out of turn 2. He goes a lap down, which the tire blistered really bad, and that was the hopping like a jumping kangaroo that you saw on him until it blew, which that tire blew in such a weird way. It like unraveled. That's Sorry, I'm trying not to burp. That looks really weird. These tires are sketchy as hell. Like the way that tire unraveled is really, really interesting. I haven't seen a tire come apart like that in a long time. Anyway, so it destroys a lot of the undercarriage of that car, and they come in to pit lane here. And I don't know if it's when they're initially in pit road under 143 or if it's when they come back down the second time. But Bell only has one set of tires left for the rest of this race, nearly 100 laps left, and they have one set of sticker tires left. They go on the radio and say, you know what? We're putting our last set of Goodyear sticker tires on lap 148 to guarantee us the lucky dog. We need to at least have a fighting chance here. We'll put the best scuffs that we have on for the rest of the race. So keep that in mind. Bell puts on his last pair of Goodyear tires, of new Goodyear Mr. Feelgoods, as DW would say, to get a lucky dog on lap 166. So keep that in mind. While he is improving here, he's staying 22 because he's on old tires. He can't do much. That's why we see Bell, and him fighting for 14th on this run, him gaining positions here. This is insane. This is crazy because he's on used tires at this point. I'm assuming this is probably from the second run of the day or whenever something happened. They might be, I'm pretty sure they're running, I'm pretty sure they run the same compound on both left and right. So they might be switching, like putting unused left side tires on the right side here. Not entirely sure on that aspect. But that's how, the fact that Bell got away with a 10th place finish as a car that I know was not on new tires on this restart is insane. That's crazy. Now he does, however, slow the inside lane down on lap 272 coming to the green flag. You see him on the restart being there, and he doesn't get going, and that stacks the rest of the back of the field up. That stacks the outside lane up as well, and so on the final restart, you just have the top 8 guys by themselves. That's pretty much the competition. The front 2 rows are side by side. That's how they basically end the race, but nobody else was able to really gain positions past 10th because Bell kind of slowed the field down. And if you go back and look, God, please, Fox, if you could just zoom out just a little, but like the back half of the field is not even there. I didn't know if they wrecked the first time watching this, like watching it live. I was like, what is the back of the field doing? They're not even in the TV shot. But looking back, it was Bell who kind of held up the inside lane, who stacked up the outside as well. That's why the top 8 kind of run away. But the fact that Bell got to 10th is really impressive. So yet again, going back to drivers who have skill, who want to race this car. Bell at Auto Club said it was going to be fun. Like, he enjoys racing these cars again. He spins out. He doesn't do anything bad. Saves the car, but he goes laps down. Which NASCAR did say they removed the roadblocks here at Las Vegas, and they're going to probably continue doing that. That was mainly in place to control ride heights, and that's why you're seeing that these cars, the splitter is slightly up and off the racing surface because they removed those roadblocks. And it's a reason why we didn't see Hemrick rip the front end of the car off when he went through the grass. And so I gotta believe that's a good thing. I don't think grass is going to be that big of an issue moving forward, which is very funny because in every race, all the drivers in the booth are like, can we get AstroTurf here? I don't want to go on my grass rant again. They're not putting AstroTurf on these tracks. I hate to tell you that. They're just not. They've told you no 6,000 times if you can get it through your head. Anyway, so we get to the end of the race here. Let's try and look at the long runs and see who gained positions here. Obviously, Trix just got really screwed over on the final restart here. Reddick, a man who spun out, finished 7th, which is, I'm very happy with how this race played out. I'm very happy with how this race played out. I'm very happy with the projected finishes that I had for a lot of these people. This is a fun race to watch, and it was fun to be here. Eric Almirola, looking good, man. Looking really, really good. I have to believe, and this is another reason why, and I do appreciate you being here for 34 minutes. This race is, I think, is a better sample to look at than Auto Club. You kind of have less variables, and the guys who made mistakes are the guys that you expect to make mistakes. But Eric Almirola driving through this field is pretty impressive. Let's see if he gets saved here. So he's in 17th. They start pitting here. So running 17th, taking advantage on pit road. Did he take 2 tires? I'll have to look back. I'm not going to do that in this one right here. But restarts 9th, man. This is what you got to see. So, yet again, on paper, Eric Almirola is not necessarily a guy popping off, but you need to open that player pool up for situations like this. Where do you finish here? Eric Almirola finishes 6th place. I want to say that was on pit road. They did improve throughout the day, but him getting 6th place is not where he was running at all. Let's see. I guess I'm going back. When you go to the end, to the far right here, you can see the percentage that drivers run in the top 5, top 10. So let's just see Eric Almirola's right here. So only 5% of his laps were in the top 5 of this whole race. And I got to say, a lot of those are probably under yellow. So when we look at 23% being in the top 5, and then him finishing 6th, that's a really, really impressive run at the end there. It's also really disappointing, which is why, here, let's go back here. Let's go down. I remember in the live show, a lot of people were hesitant on Eric Jones. And I think Eric Jones had a lot of talent. I think that, so that's what I was saying before I went on this rant. This is the reason why I'm throwing out the data from 2021 and really all the high downforce race years in the past. And even some of the, I think it's 2015, 2016, I'll probably keep those. But really the last 3 years worth of data, specifically the 550 horsepower package, throwing that out the wazoo, throwing it out the window. Doesn't even matter. Don't exist for me. That's where I'm at. I'm not looking at previous data. I'm not looking at previous track history. Focusing on this year. I think Eric Jones has skill. I think he's here to race. I think he's here to perform. I like Eric Jones in this car. He's able to drive it and feel comfortable with it. We can see that he's able to cut through at least the field on these long runs, or at least even in the short restarts, he's able to do well. And sorry, I gotta move this. I know my head's probably blocking the way. We see him gain. We see Jones that is gaining positions. We go on this long run, which is really impressive. This is why I do like Ty Dillon. I just want to see more, or I'm interested in Ty Dillon. I want to see more from Ty Dillon. But on this long run, yet again, we got to about 210 before we start pitting. That is good to see. Now, tires might be a factor here. He might be running 4 new tires where he's passing other guys with 2 tires or old tires or whatnot. But that's still really good to see. And when we get here and we look at his run to the finish is absolutely great. Let's look at the amount of laps that he led. Nearly 75% of his laps in the top 20 is impressive. Nearly 50% of his laps inside the top 15 is really good to see. When he was the guy who had the most amount of laps in the top 5 last week, this is pointing to it not being a fluke. Eric Jones is actually doing something here. Now, he overcorrects pretty bad and in turn 4, heavy suspension damage, which we're kind of getting to the end of this, so we can kind of talk rants a little bit more. These cars are rough rigged as hell, man. These composite bodies don't mean shit if the components are made out of styrofoam. And Eric Jones's crash is an incident that we are running our styrofoam USA Legend car suspensions and control arms, because Eric Jones hit that wall at a 4. Car basically looked brand new, like it came off the sales lot. But that right front suspension is broken. It's bouncing around freely. Yet again, we have Eric Jones plowing the wall in 4. The caution ain't out until Eric Jones comes off the wall in 4, gets in the grass, passes the start-finish line. Caution is now out. By that point, Jones is flying up the track because he literally has no steering because the suspension is destroyed. He slides up the track, nearly gets killed by Bubba Wallace. That's not me exaggerating, because Bubba would have T-boned him straight in the driver's side door going full speed, because Bubba doesn't know there's a crash. There's no way his spotter is looking at the front straightaway when Bubba's most likely in the back straightaway when Eric Jones hit the wall. NASCAR is late on the yellow, so Bubba has to basically throw himself to the left into the tire barrier to not kill Jones. But a disappointing run from Jones there. A lot of people were like, oh my God, Jones at 30% ownership. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Jones had a good car. That was a bad break. That's NASCAR DFS. But Jones, I think Jones is the real deal here. We're seeing guys who are able to race well in these cars. Real racers are being able to show up now. Anyway, so Bubba Wallace wrecks. Doesn't destroy the car because he bounces off the tires. Nearly hits the pace car as he's coming out, which I know I say it a lot. I know my gimmick is like, we're going to kill someone. We need flips and we going to kill someone. But we going to kill someone if we ain't careful, man. NASCAR is dropping the ball on the... we're here. Let's talk about Spencer Boyd. Spencer Boyd wrecks in the truck race with 2 to go. That's unheard of. That's legit racing back to the line. Spencer Boyd wrecks off of 2 with 2 laps to go in the truck race, hits the inside wall. So not only is NASCAR going to be like, nah, we ain't throwing the yellow, but the one time they don't throw the yellow for that extended amount of time, a driver is actually injured because Spencer Boyd dislocates his shoulder. But at the time, he didn't know if he broke his shoulder, didn't know if he broke his arm. He hit that wall really, really hard. NASCAR says, fuck you. We don't care about you, Spencer Boyd. We're staying green. And yeah, that was amazing. So we had 3 butched cautions this week. Spencer Boyd, Denny Hamlin, Eric Jones. We're in the danger zone, boys, man. We're shaking hands with danger at this point. So keep that in mind. We're going to have guys that are going to be spin out. We're going to have cautions that are going to be funky entering these races. What else am I forgetting here? Oh yeah, Daniel Suarez. Unfortunate that Briscoe kind of got involved. Let's see where Suarez wrecked out. It's pretty early in the race. We didn't even get to really see what this car had. Yeah. And I think this is a good example of why this first run is bad for guys this far in the field, because so he starts 21st and he's up to 14th on lap 14, but at this point he has a lot of guys in the back of the field passing him. So he drops all the way back to 19th. He goes and gets involved. Not involved. He goes to pit lane. He's pitting. He's racing by... You can't even see this. I apologize. Let me move this down. Sorry. Let's go back here. I don't know if I showed it on the screen, so I do apologize. Anyway, so, he kind of levels out to where he's around 19th. Once all the guys in the back pass him, once he passes some people, he evens out to about 19th here. And let's see, we get involved here. We're at stage 1. He's racing around Briscoe, and Suarez flies in the wall. And I will admit that these things are freaking hilarious when they crash, because these cars are just on the frames. It's not only the car absorbs these hits and just sends it all to the driver, but when the tires blow, you just have these cars spinning freely just because they're on metal. So you have Suarez spinning around. I remember watching this. At this point, I was getting ready for my league race, because I race every Sunday on iRacing. And one of the guys was saying, he was like, man, Suarez is pretty cute. And the thing that caught me off guard was not that, but Suarez looked the same the past 6 years. Why is it just taking him that long to figure that out? So at that point, we were debating if you're with Suarez, who'd be a top, who'd be a bottom. And I got to tell you what, I am not a BB. I'm not going to be bottom Brandon, okay? I'm TOC, baby. I'm top of the charts. I'm a dominator. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so Suarez wrecks. We don't get to see much from Suarez. Let's look at Michael McDowell really quick, because Michael McDowell excelled in the high downforce, low horsepower package. My hypothesis here is that, we can see that McDowell finishes in the back half of the field today, but I'm assuming that he never really got inside the top 15 under green at all. Certainly there under yellow, even losing positions on the long run here. This long run will be interesting. We're going to 210. 23rd. That's a little bit better than I thought, but not as good as McDowell was last year in this package. And let's see. I want to see. I think I've about touched on everything so far here. Reddick is fast. It's a shame that it's a shame that he went to the back and he had to deal with so many issues. But when you compare Reddick and Larson, two guys who went to the back of the field like basically twice, Larson had the better car. Larson is still the better driver. Let's see. Oh, and Eric Almirola's feet were going numb, which is interesting. The broadcast, man, they were saying Eric Almirola was going numb here. They were saying Blaney had the issue last week. I'm assuming just how these seats are, they're probably sitting a bit differently, and I'm assuming they have like the edge of the seat underneath their thighs at like a different place, and the vibrations from the car, probably because the car is so stiff, it's probably isolating at a different frequency than what they're normally used to, and that's probably why we're seeing so many drivers complain about their legs going numb. But this is good to see, man, for Hendrick. It's looking like Hendrick is going to be pretty fast on these intermediate tracks. It'll be interesting going to the short tracks this week at Phoenix. I want to see if the Chevys, and the fact that Toyota showed up again really shows to me that everybody really is even. If anything, the Ford struggled the most today or yesterday, Sunday rather. But if the Toyotas didn't have the overheating issue last week, they probably would have ran top 10 as well. So I think the door is wide open right now for at least 11 drivers week to week to be dominators, to be lap leaders. I really do. And that would be probably the Hendrick drivers. That's probably going to be 3 Joe Gibbs drivers. It's probably going to be 2 of both the RCR guys. Probably even a Ford in there as well. If you include probably 2 Fords in there. So really each week right now, until we get more data and we see a team pull away, there's about 11 guys entering. I was going to say Atlanta, but it's not Atlanta, because that's we got to see how Atlanta races. What's the next intermediate track we're at? Whatever one it is, once we go to Phoenix and Atlanta. Is Atlanta after Phoenix? I just went blank. Forgive me. Whatever the next intermediate track is, I'm leaving it open to maybe 11 cars sharing fast laps and laps led. So yeah, main takeaways for me is I want to try and build 3 to 4 dominator type of lineups. I'm probably going to embrace more punting in the 4K range, and I'm going to try and hit drivers that I think are going to perform well that might be a bit more expensive. It's like a driver who's like 5'8", 5'9", 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". I might try and play more of those guys. So in my mind right here, I want to try and build more lines that have a 4K, 6K value, and then chasing 4 dominators or high upside place differential plays, like Kyle Busch, like Harvick was this week. Not saying Harvick was optimal, but I didn't think Harvick ended up being that bad of a play, everything considered. And so I'm more open to building lineups like that. So if you're supporting us on Patreon, you have the ability to do all this. You can go check this out on your own time. If you want me to do more of these, I'm sure I can. I don't necessarily want to do it every week because I don't want to just give away lap by lap data each and every week. When you guys are supporting us, I'm sure Pierce is doing something right now as well, because he's in the sheet too. But anyway, so that's that. If you want to view this, if you want to support me, support Pierce, support what we're doing, you can go to the link above, or you can use the link above, or you can just go to the link below in this video and support us there. Thank you for sitting down for 50 minutes while I chit-chat and talk about this. So we'll see you guys this week in the preview shows for the Phoenix race. So we'll see you guys then. We'll see you then. Bye.